Gina Hanson intends to take us on a deep dive into the fundamental principles that drive growth, transformation, and success in Toastmasters. So whether you're a seasoned leader or just starting your journey, she promises that this course will empower you with the knowledge, tools, and hands-on strategies to facilitate massive growth personally as well as organizationally. So to become a catalyst for change in your Toastmaster community, let's welcome our speaker today, Gina Hanson.
Thank you, Vicki. And this is why Vicki is doing this, because she needs to keep me grounded. So thank you, sweetheart. All right, let's dig in. Let me see this desktop sharing. Perfect. All right, let's go. So today we're going to be talking about a growth culture and the 5 components that you need to grow. Organizational identity, your lead metric for growth, a guest-centered culture, leadership of leaders and how to set that up, and the true secret to growth. So first off, who are you? What are your core values? What are your organizational core values? Are they in alignment? And once you know those and understand those, how do you articulate that to everybody else? So let's dig through core values. What I've done is I've provided a bonus. This is where I told you guys to look every time you see this bonus. I provided a bonus survey that walks through core values, personal core values. You get that out to your board and all of your Toastmasters members, and it's super simple. It takes just a minute. They circle everything that aligns with who they are, as many as they want, and then there's space for them to add in any other core values that they have. And then this is the first part of the survey. The second part of that same exact survey has organizational core values. Again, very simple. They circle the values that align up with them, and there's space for them to write in anything that they want. And then once you have that doc back, we give you a cheat sheet that shows you how the personal core values align up with the organizational core values. And what you're looking for is alignment between your people and what they feel the organization is all about. And when you have that alignment, what you do with that is you create your story. So in this example, we had alignment with authenticity, relational, and learning based. So when we create our story, what we want is something that's very, very, very simple and in very plain English. So authenticity, relational, learning based, we're just real people trying to help each other grow. When you have that, and it's that simple and easy to articulate, it means that you have a tool to be able to invite like-minded people, because we attract who we are. And the key to growth is attracting who you are. So now you know how to figure out what your personal core values are, what your organizational core values are, and then alignment around that and how to articulate that. Second step, lead metric for growth. Now, a lot of people think that a lead metric for growth is how many members you have, but that's not a lead measure. That's actually a leg measure. And what I mean by that is you can't control that portion of it. And when it's already happened. So it's a great leg measure to find out how you're growing, but it's not a good lead measure. And that's the difference, is we're looking for that lead measure. And we want to have just one thing that we track so that it gives us focus. And then once we have that, then we need to be able to figure out, what do people want as they're coming and joining up with us? So we want to know what that lead measure is and how to track that. That lead measure is going to be, in this instance, for growth in a Toastmasters organization, it's going to be guests. So we need to know how many guests we need in order to get how many members we need. So what I've done is we're going to go to this first. So I pulled this off of the fact sheet that Toastmasters has. There's so much information on this thing. I love this. So if you look right there, you'll see the retention rate is 53.1%. So if the retention rate, how many people join Toastmasters and then stay? So that's the average across all of Toastmasters. The opposite of a retention rate is a churn rate. A churn rate is how many people go. It's just the opposite of the retention. So if retention is 53, churn rate is 47. So we have a churn rate across all of Toastmasters of 47%. So now what do I do with that? I actually need to stop sharing for 1 second so I can show you this. Oh, I dislike the small screen like this. Let me stop sharing so I can reshare my other screen here, and I will show you what I've got built for you. Let me go back into here, share screen, and go to this desktop too. Perfect. Can you guys see this orange screen right here?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So what we've done here, what I've built for you guys here is you feed in everywhere there's a blue check mark, you just feed this in. And again, you'll get this. So your membership goal for the year, in our case, it happens to be 40. How many people do you currently have? You feed that number in also. It calculates your churn rate automatically. What that means, if you don't do anything and not one person comes in, you're going to be down to 12 members by the end of the year because that's the churn rate. Then you look at, it calculates automatically the number of original members at year end, how many members you need, and then these numbers you'll have to feed in how many guests you had and the number that joined. And once you feed in these 4 numbers, your membership goal, how many people you currently have, the number of guests and how many joined, it's going to spit out how many members you need at the end of the year. All of these you can play with, you can adjust this churn rate as well. But this tells me in this exact scenario that if I wanted to grow to 40 members, I'm going to have to make sure that I've got 34 guests that come in. So that's how that works. So you're going to get that also, so you know what it is that you need to, what your goal is. So you've got complete focus. Let's get back to here. Hang on one second. I wish there was a better way to get that thing to work, but I couldn't. So that's the last clunky bit of technology we have to deal with today. All right. So now you know what your growth rate is and you know how to track that and you know what measure you need to be tracking. All right. So we know our organizational values, our core values, personal values, organizational values, how to articulate it. And we also know the difference between a lead metric and a leg metric and which one to track and how to track that. Next, guest-centered culture. So the next thing we have to do is create a guest-centered culture. And what is that? All that is providing the guests what it is that they're looking for. What do they want? They want connection. How do I know that? Check it out. Go back to the fact sheet right there. 86% of the people that join Toastmasters have built social connections and network with others. That's what they're looking for. So that's what we have to facilitate. We have to make sure that our guests get connected. How do we do that? Easy peasy. So first off, we want to make them feel invited, welcomed, ask them to help us, plug them in, and let them know that they're part of the plan. So let's walk through those 5 steps. The 6 magic words to grow a Toastmasters. Will you come with me Saturday, Thursday, Tuesday, whatever day it is you meet? That's it. Those are the 6 magic words. By the way, I stole that from Beth Ramsey. And the rule of stealing anything is the first time you credit the person, the second time you heard it somewhere, the third time it's all your own. So since I'm using it today, I'm going to credit Beth for this. But will you come with me day of week? So you just invite. That's the first thing. You invite people in. The next, you make them feel welcomed. So I like to set the expectations up front. And the way that I do that is when our guests are there, I say at the very beginning of the meeting, please stand up and introduce yourself and tell us why you're here, how you found us. I want to be able to make that connection. And then once they do that, and we go through all the guests, after everyone sits down, I say during our meeting, there's going to be a time for you to be able to participate if you want. That's in our meeting. That would be table topics. And at the end, I'm going to ask you your opinion, okay? And again, I'm setting expectations. They've stood up, they've spoken, they know there's an opportunity to speak during the meeting if they choose. They're not being forced, but if they choose. And at the end, I'm going to ask your opinion. So I've set that expectations. They understand how that's going to work through the meeting. And then we give them a guest packet. I think the guest packet is extremely important. However, one of the things that I've seen with the guest packet is people want to give them a book. So we're going to give you what we have in our guest packet. I'm going to break that all down for you. What's in a guest packet? The first thing we put into our guest packet is a welcome letter. Take your welcome letter and rewrite it to reflect your organizational values in that simple, plain English. It should be something that's 1 page, no more, and it's very, very, very simple, plain English. This is welcome. We want you to be part of our family. The next thing that's in a guest packet is a cast of characters. Toastmasters has a great cast of characters, except it's 2 pages long. It's a page and a half, actually. So take that and redo that. Also, we'll get you a copy of ours and make it, so again, very, very, very simple English. And in the center of our guest packet up at the top, it actually says, will you help us? Can you please, we're going to ask your opinion at the end. Can you make some notes here during this part? So when you hand them that guest packet, that page goes out of the guest packet and is set on top because it allows them to understand what's going on and what are table topics, what is an counter, etc. It's all out there. And then they have that space to write. So welcome letter, cast of characters. The next thing to put in that is the Toastmasters Find Your Voice trifold pamphlet. The reason why I like this one, well, one, it's free, so I like that. Two, it's professional looking. It is also very, very simple. It is well laid out graphically. It has Toastmasters logo on it, so it legitimizes you and your group. So that's why I like that one. It's very professional, and it says, yes, we are a professional organization. And the last thing that goes in a welcome packet is a join app. Why are we here? That's why. So again, it's very, very simple. It is not overwhelming. If you give them this book with all the stuff in it, you're just going to overwhelm people. We are down to a society that takes information on Post-it size, bullets and Post-it size. So don't overwhelm them. Keep it nice and simple. All right. Next, we want to see the meeting through our guests' eyes. So this part is really, really important. Have you ever gone to church and there's just a few rows of chairs, and then as the church fills up, they put in more and more and more chairs and keep on adding them, and it seems a little chaotic and a little busy? Turns out there's a really good reason for that. And here's what it is. You never want your room to look like it's more than 80% full, and you don't want it less and you don't want it more. What happens is if you walk into a room and that room, every chair is filled except for one back over there, and you have to kind of squeeze through to get to it, you don't feel like there's any space for you. So subconsciously it says we're full. Conversely, if you walk into a room and there's just a handful of people and tons of chairs, it's like, there's nothing going on here. I don't want to be part of this group. So you really want that 80% full. And then if you have to, have extra chairs somewhere that you can grab those extra chairs and make space for people. And so you want to see through guest eyes. That's the first thing. The second thing is at the end of the meeting, we always say, can you help us grow? And there's power in that phrase. Can you help us? Especially when your voice comes up at the end, there's a lot of power in that. I continue on. It really helps us to see our meetings through your eyes. Will you please tell us what you loved and maybe what you didn't love so much? And then shut up. Just shut up and listen to them. And no matter what, always when they're done, thank them, especially if they give you some not just fluffy stuff, but really hands-on stuff. We actually had a person that came to our meeting a few weeks ago and said, you guys put the word of the day on a board over here, and that's cool, but there's another board over here and I can't see it from back here. You should put it on that board too. And we do now every time. And then when I do get feedback like that, I'm like, thank you. People don't usually give us that kind of great feedback. Thank you so much. So you want to help them to feel like they're important, but you also want to see it through their eyes. The next thing, plug them in. What I love to use in this is the greeter rule. And the reason why I love the greeter rule is because people thought it wasn't important, but it's very important because when they're brand new, I go, can you help us? We really need a greeter. It's super easy. You just stand up front and shake hands and say hi. And they're plugged in. So we're getting that thing where they've got a job and they're getting plugged in. And the last part of the plan. So on part of the plan, if they come back the second week and they haven't joined, I tell them, I'm going to make you stand up here and talk every single week until you join. It's part of the evil plan. And we all laugh, but they also know it. Like, you're going to get harassed until you join. So let them know that they're part of the plan. All right. So we went through personal goals, organizational goals, lead and leg metrics, and a unified, cohesive guest experience. Next component, leadership of leaders. All right. At your very first executive committee meeting or before this next meeting, ask all of your board members what their personal goal is. This one is really important, and it doesn't matter what it is. It's anything that they want to work towards personally on a personal level, has nothing to do with business or Toastmasters. That's the first one. The second one, ask them what their Toastmaster goal is. So what do they want to accomplish? DTM, contest chair, finishing out a whole pathway. You want them to have a reason to be at Toastmasters. The third thing, big, huge goal, big rock. That's what you guys are all going to be working on together as a group. And the last one is the perfect agenda. Then the way that you're going to do this is you're going to, at the meeting, you're going to, well, let's go to our agenda. Actually, let's go dig into that. Your agenda looks like this. It's present, approved last month's minutes, but then it's personal goals. And we just go around the room. Are you on track to hit your personal goal? Yes, 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 no. As soon as we hit a no, everyone pitches in to help that person. And then we do the same thing with your Toastmaster goal. Are you on track? Yes, yes, no. And everyone pitches in to help that person. If all you do is build up their lives and build up their Toastmasters lives, you will create a scenario where people want to be on the board because they know that their lives are going to be improved with this. The next component, the big, huge rock, the reason why you have that one, you have a big goal that all committees are working towards in a unified, cohesive manner rather than scattered all over the place. And by the way, you want that goal to be something that makes people go, when they first hear it. You want them to have that. And if it's not something that makes them suck all the oxygen out of the room, keep on working until you get that big, huge goal. If during your meeting you never have time to get to it, don't worry about that because you're focused in on the personal or the Toastmasters goal. Build them up. And the last component of this is you have to help them committeefy, because if they don't get committees, it's going to put too much weight on them. So you've got to help them with that. All right. So organizational and personal core values, lead and leg metric, guest experience, goals, their goals, helping them lift them up. And the very last one, the true secret to growth mindset. And I'm going to finish up quickly. 4 components. All a growth mindset is, it says the world's going to change and we can make it. That's it. It's effort, not talent. You don't need to know everything. Ask questions. You can learn. Studies show we can learn all the way through 80s, 90s. You're going to make mistakes, accept the feedback. But listen to the inviters. These are people who invite other people and they see the world through the eyes of the inviter. Joe is coming and I saw trash on the floor. Gina, can you pick it up? Listen to that person, because you're always going to get the people who say, we've always done it that way. Don't listen to them. Listen to the inviters. And you guys want to know the very last secret? The true secret to growth? It's you. This organization is going to grow to the extent that you grow. If you want to grow, if you want your organization to grow, you grow. You dig deep, you grow personally and professionally, and your organization will as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gina. What a wonderful plan. I know I am personally going to be implementing almost every single thing you said today. We are going to load up into the chat some folders for you before you leave. It is time for the session to end. You have about 10 minutes to get to the next session, but Gina is here still to answer any questions you might have. And if you want to stick around till I get those things loaded up in the chat, you are welcome to do that and then download all of the things she talked about today. I'll turn it over to you. I do have to leave as soon as I finish that because I have to get on to the next session.
Thank you, darling.
Gina. Thank you so much.
All right. Do I have any questions from anybody? And go ahead and just unmute and shout out. It's all good.
Great job.
So Gina, when you were talking about the cast of characters, we've done this in my club. It's Joyce here.
Okay.
I get the idea you were talking about a brief description of each of the roles. You're not necessarily talking about the agenda per se that they have for the meeting. Is that correct?
Correct. It's a brief description of every role. So when they hear the word Toastmaster, they know what that is. They can find it on that sheet.
Right. Okay. That's something I'll need to take back to my board. This was really, really helpful. I especially like the part about the personal goals.
Thank you.
Very
Thank you
good.
very much. Thank you. You'll get all that. You'll get that our cast of characters also to take back to and editable also.
Gotcha.
Perfect. All right. Anything else? What else do we got in here? I'm going to pull the chat up also, but feel free. I come from a whole family.
I have a question.
Bring it on. What you got, Jackie?
What can you say about this topic in relation to advanced clubs?
As far as advanced clubs, are advanced clubs online or just because
hybrid? I mean, for the one I'm in is hybrid.
All right. So I know there's criteria for advanced clubs, like you have to be through 2 levels, et cetera. I mean, it's still going to start with the invitation. You're not going to need the cast of characters as much, but perhaps something that lets people know, and especially if you're hybrid, I'm thinking you're going to have to let people know, hey, look, we want your opinion. You're going to have to tell them, and maybe have something you can drop straight into the chat every time that has a doc that they can just put up on their screen. In addition to that, kind of walks them through, you know, we want your opinion, to give us your feedback, that kind of thing. But it all still starts with inviting. The room is a tricky one because you don't have the ability to make a room seem full or not full.
Right.
You're probably going to, again, have to use verbal clues. You know, we've got a full house, but we've still, you know, we've got Zoom, and I have room for 4 more people in my Zoom, but we got a good full house. Let's go, kind of a thing. That's
Right.
what I'm thinking of, unless you've got something specific as well.
Right. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Anyone else? The number of guests for the whole year from Chanel? Yes.
Yes, I had a question about the Excel thing you posted.
Yeah.
Can you please share that? Because it looks quite
You're
useful.
gonna get it. Yep.
Okay, thank you.
You're totally
I-
welcome.
I-
Part of what you're gonna get. Yeah.
Okay, and my
I
question
have
was
loaded all of the,
It's in the chat.
sorry, I have loaded all of the documents in both PDF and Word into the chat. So you should have them by now, or they
okay,
should
I
be
think
loading.
the Excel sheet that calculated the number of members or the number of guests you need to be able to reach your goals as your membership goals. Is that also going to be available?
Yes, you'll have a Google link for that. I threw it up in Google Docs. So you've got the
Okay.
link, and you can go straight in, and it says right on there to make a copy. And I made myself my own copy, but make a copy, and then it's all yours to edit however you want.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. All right. Do we have any other questions up here? Let me see. I'm going through this also. Useful resource, number of guests. other people can. Yes. Would you speak to the committee goal piece again when you're done? I didn't catch what you said. Oh, so once you know your personal and professional goals, for the sorry, your board members' personal and Toastmasters goal, then sit down as a group at your executive committee to come up with the big overarching goal that you want the whole crew to be working for towards a year. So in this component, I knew what I wanted, and I wanted to double our membership. And as the president, I kept my mouth shut, and I just kind of let them go where they wanted to go. And then when they did settle on membership, and there were some banding about some numbers, they were doing some 10%, 20%, some lower numbers. And that's when I said, I think we should double. And I'm telling you, the oxygen got sucked out of the room. It really did. It was a bunch of, and I was like, yep. And there's a place for big goals and little goals, and they have very different reasons why we go after them. And both of them are very helpful in growth. In this scenario, you really want something like that makes people suck in the oxygen, because then there's a sense of it's big and we got to band together and we got to work towards it. And, so you want that for this particular goal. So that's the big committee goal. And then all the committee members, each one of them, VPPR, VPE, membership, etc., they know our goal is to get us to 40. What can we do as our committee to all push towards that 40? Does that help? Wherever Rhonda is, there's Rhonda.
Is there anything else you would say about retaining members? And I will say I'm happy that we ended up having 12 to 17, at the end of our year, and the guests are just coming in like crazy. So we're almost a little overwhelmed also by all these newbies where we have not so many old bees, whatever the
Right. You got to get them plugged in. You got to give them a role. Either mentor or assign somebody to buddy up with them.
Yeah, buddy is what we've decided to use. You know what, Gina? Because that doesn't sound so intimidating. Oh, I could mentor. No, don't ask me to mentor. I asked this woman, hey, can you run the buddy system? She's given like one talk so far. She said, well, I guess I could probably do that. And so we're going to have buddies. You give one talk, you can be a buddy to somebody who hasn't given a talk, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep, exactly. Because they're one step. All we want is to have a person who's just one step ahead on the path. It can be further along, but it's not like I'm the expert on top of the mountain talking to you. I'm just one step ahead of the path as you are. So it removes the pressure from it also. And that's why I like using the simple English, because Toastmaster, the verbiage is, it confuses people and it intimidates to a degree. And we wanted to remove all of that. So, yep, your buddy system, right path.
Right. This has been awesome, Gina. I'm so glad they came.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Let me skip to the next one.
Yeah, there is another one. Insightful, I'll be implementing, very informative. Are you going to share the PowerPoint? I wasn't going to, but I can. Do you guess? Do your guest packet have pathways information? We don't. Membership packet, separate packet. So that's how we take care of that. We have a completely separate member packet. Thank you for the resources. Where's the link? Okay, it's possible in that. I really like that. Can you I think we got it. All right. I love I also the buddy one, Joyce. Okay. Is there anything else before I let you guys go? We're taking enough of your time. Colette? Steve?
You rock, Gina, and thanks for taking the air out of the room and making sure that we're on track with our personal goals, because that's the scariest crap ever to try and organize.
Yeah.
And it challenges the team. And that is the whole objective.
Yep. And it connects you in too, because they're working with me to hold me accountable for my weight because I want to drop weight. And we're working with somebody else to hold them accountable for whatever it is theirs is. And
100%.
it just really gets people on that personal level with that connection.
Thank you. Thank you for your effort. Thank you.
You are welcome, darling. Thank you for coming.
Gina, may I ask a question?
You can ask 10. I will stay put for you.
Okay, might you be interested in doing this presentation at my club? I'm not from this district.
Absolutely. I put on the very last thing, if you enjoy it, I can do it for business organizations, nonprofits, charitable organizations. Yes, absolutely.